My partner left me behind during an earthquake while I'm pregnant. This just happened. I live in a country known for earthquakes this time of the year. We were together in the living room while I was on a work conference video call when the alarms started going off in our building and on our phones, and the building started to shake a bit. It took me a moment to register what was happening, but by the time I got up, he had already taken the 2 dogs and was running downstairs. As mentioned, I was on a conference call, no shoes on and no bra on, and I'm 6 months pregnant. I tried to act quickly and made it downstairs where he already was with the dogs. Luckily, everyone was fine. When we got back to the apartment, I told him how he acted really upset me. He did not even hesitate to leave me behind to fend for myself and his unborn child. He defended his actions and basically told me I needed to act quickly or I'm fucked in those situations. It's not as if I needed him to hold my hand during that moment, but he didn't even wait a second to make sure I was good to go. I'm really upset because obviously I'm not in able-bodied shape due to being pregnant, and I'm hurt. His reaction was basically, "It's your fault, you are slow, I'm not going to wait for you." I need some perspective on this. I think it's pretty obvious why I would be upset about this, but can someone give me some perspective on his side so I can understand why he's defending his position? Are we both valid? Or is he being in a hole? Also, for some quick background, I am foreign to this country and have been here a year, and I'm not very experienced in these situations. Edit. Thank you guys for your overwhelming response to this. We finally talked when things calmed down and he agreed he reacted poorly, he should not have defended his behavior, and that moving forward his priorities would be, and should have been in the situation, me and the baby. We also discussed what our earthquake plan would be since we live in a country where they happen frequently. I upset some people with a seasonal comment, and we will be talking through this with our therapist next week. To the people saying, "Well, what did you expect him to do? Die with you?" And I was perfectly capable of everything during my pregnancy. Congrats for missing the point, and I hope your reading comprehension and empathy skills improve. It's truly weird to see people in the comments saying things like, "Being pregnant doesn't give you an excuse for special treatment." Comment? Are you implying that he felt a parental instinct towards the dogs but not towards his unborn kid? Because I've always preferred animals to people, and I still find that a huge red flag for OP. Ironically, if this was a serious earthquake, he would die first. Basically, unless you live in ground floor / right next to the outside door, you cannot outrun an earthquake. You will shake too and your senses get messed up. At 7.4 Richter earthquake, by the time we got out of first floor, it was over. And we were in pajamas and didn't bother to bring a bag. Plus, earthquakes are too short and getting stuck in stairs is bad. Elevators are also death traps. Also, you are very likely to harm yourself as there won't be any electricity. It is better to crawl next to a strong pillar-like structure and get out calmly after earthquake is over. Being pregnant changes your center of gravity, which can mess with your balance, and during an earthquake is exponentially worse. That there were stairs involved, you could have easily fallen down the stairs due to the additional vertigo from the earthquake. You were not his priority. Massive red flag. Yeah. I mean, the baby. If not for the partner, what about the baby? It could come a day when my husband doesn't love me anymore, hopefully never, but he would never stop loving his babies, and in that frame this is so bizarre to me. I just can't wrap my mind around this. When I was pregnant, it triggered my husband to be even more protective. He was always helping me in and out of the car, sitting up or down, and just generally hovering if I needed anything. Granted, I was having a hell of time between pre-HG, kidney issues landing me almost septic in the hospital, but still. Being pregnant changes your body so much. Your center of gravity is off and my balance was horrible. I moved so slowly. Her husband not rushing to grab her and make sure she was safe during an emergency would cause me to reconsider the relationship tbh. Yes, I honestly think it's primal. I remember my roommate got pregnant, and when we were crossing the street, a car turned a bit close to us and I basically jumped in front of her without even thinking. She wasn't even really in any danger. My hackles just went up, so to speak. I would not normally have done that, but I knew she was pregnant and lived with her, breathing in her, like, pregnancy pheromones or whatever. Partner is giving I don't really care about this woman and my child vibes with this behavior. It's not a good look at all. I really wonder how caring he is in day-to-day life. His actions are not only indefensible but inexcusable and reprehensible. He should be walking through fire to keep you and your unborn child safe. He should be standing in front of tanks. He should be covering your body with his own. I feel terrible for you that you had to go through that ordeal, And if you were a friend of mine, I'd be wanting to talk sense into this guy in a way that is not subtle at all. There's a word for this that's slipping my mind, but you shouldn't and don't need to be physically disabled to expect a partner to have your well-being at the top of their mind. You being pregnant should expect your partner to drop everything to make sure you are out of harm's way. But the thing is, that should be the standard regardless. You yourself are important enough to have the person in your life make sure you are okay and safe. Story 2. My wife is becoming increasingly religious, has accelerated the timetable for kids, and she removed her IUD despite me saying not to. For 2 years now, I've been feeling increasingly disconnected from my wife. We have talked about it numerous times, but I'm not sure there's a way to truly reconcile things. There are 2 main issues. First, over the course of our relationship, she's become increasingly religious, specifically Catholic. I was raised Christian and turned away from church for specific reasons about which I still have conviction. That said, I don't have a problem with it per se. Other than special services like her induction into RCIA, Catholic Catechism, she doesn't push me to regularly attend Mass. I gladly attend those because I want to be supportive of her interests. The problem is it sucks the air out of all other conversation topics. I can only hear about a Bible verse, a happening in the church, or a moralistic rant so many times before I space out. I want to be a good partner and listen, but this is like hearing tapes of my upbringing, so I feel sort of frozen in time. We were at a party the other day where the plausibility of faith healing was discussed, and I just kept wondering what I'm doing here. Combine this with an inability to relate on topics I find interesting, and it makes conversation difficult for me. If I talk about my day or things I'm working on, she'll listen nicely but can't offer anything, so I feel like I'm monologuing and shut down. A friend of mine, good guy, married 15 plus years, we're taking some classes together, said to me the other day, my wife was talking to me about our homework yesterday and her questions gave me some new insights. I broke down internally because I've never experienced that in this relationship. Second, she wants children on a quicker timeline than I do. My doubts above play into this to some degree, but while I do want children, I'd like to wait 2 to 4 more years. We'd previously agreed on this, but now she wants them much sooner, to the point of removing her IUD despite my trepidation. Now I wear condoms even though she says the risk of pregnancy early after removal is low because I don't want to take any chances. I think a child should be cause for celebration, at least in our situation where we can definitely make a choice. If she were to get pregnant tomorrow, I'd feel horrible. I don't want to feel that way and want to be a good dad when it's time. This collectively paints her as selfish, but for the most part she's a very tender and loving person to me, which makes all of this difficult. We've been married 7 years, but for the past 2 I've been going through a cycle of guilt for feeling like I don't want this life, saying things like I should be happy I have such a loving wife, yet the feelings persist. I feel like I'm at the end of my rope. I want the best for us, but I'm not sure it's with each other. If we separate, I'd even stay legally married so she could be on my health insurance until she remarries. She doesn't work. Is there a path to reconciliation here? Comment. You can get pregnant as soon as an IUD is removed, even if it's hormonal. She's lying to you. The 2 of you have no interest in each other's conversations. She seems to have no hobbies apart from church. You are very unhappy. Something has to change and you know it. Do not have kids. Talk to a therapist to help sort through your feelings and decide if couple counseling will help or not. Hide the condoms so she doesn't poke holes in them and have an accidental/miracle pregnancy. Stop having sex with her and sit down and talk to her. Tell her how you are feeling. If you feel like nothing is going to change, then you better go speak to an attorney and divorce. Find someone who's more compatible with you. Yes, this 100%. I'm a public health nurse and work in a demographic where young/teen pregnancies are very common. Some of these girls, yes, girls, get pregnant right after having their IUDs removed without starting a backup plan. As a woman, it's very easy to get misinformed about BC, especially if you are told different things by your doctors. Mine couldn't even give straight answers on how long it's effective. I was told a range of 5, 7, and 10 YRS, and have been told different things about getting pregnant afterwards. Most women don't read the manufacturer website of their BC, they trust their doctors or, unfortunately more often, something their mom or friends told them. All that to say, she was forthright with telling him she removed it and that she wants children now. She's not trying to trap him but rather being communicative. It's not malice. This is the way. You can even get pregnant immediately after insertion too. I just got mine 2 weeks ago and my doctor made me wait until he could check to see if it was settling nicely because the body can do weird things and if it doesn't lay right it won't provide protection. Absolutely wild. Your wife is lying to you about the IUD. She can get pregnant right away. Sounds like she is trying to baby trap you by pretending her chances of getting pregnant are low. Pretty sure lying is frowned upon in Catholicism. All these moralistic rants but quiet about lying. Not very Christian of her. I think the issue is that, in the eyes of rad-trad Catholics, lying in order to have a baby is probably a more venial sin than using an IUD. Birth control is a big no-no. I wonder if she might be getting just take it out messaging / pressure from some of her religious friends.